Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Timely Action Hour. This is the show where we talk about everything from comic books to action figures and everything in between. My name is Aidan, and I hope that you're doing well today. So in this video, I'm going to be doing a review of World's Finest Comics number 300. Now, this was the anniversary, obviously 300th issue of World's Finest. Now, what is World's Finest, you might ask? World's Finest Comics was a series that began in 1941 where DC Comics would print a Superman issue, a Superman story, and a Batman story, and Batman, Robin, and Superman would all be on the cover. But they didn't actually meet until a few years into the series.
Batman, what brings you to Metropolis? A series of rare gem thefts from museums in Gotham, Bloodhaven, and Star City.
Now, this would go on to be a Superman-Batman team-up book, but during the 1970s and early 80s, it would be a story where Superman teams up with a different character, and then Batman would have a separate story, but where he's solo or with Robin or with Batgirl. But around the early 80s, around this time, they would bring back the Superman-Batman team-ups, and this is actually the issue in which they do that. Because also during this time, a few months prior, Batman had quit the Justice League of America to form a team called the Outsiders, which is a team consisting of characters like Metamorpho, Katana, Geoforce, Black Lightning, and Halo, and they would do clandestine missions around the globe. And so basically, this, as I said, is the anniversary issue, but they're like, okay, we need to go back to basics and have Superman and Batman rekindle their friendship and start teaming up again. So basically, the gist of the story, without getting into too many spoilers, because I recommend that you read all of the comics that I review on here. I also recommend that you buy the action figures for yourself or watch some movies and TV shows that I review for yourself so that you can form your own opinion. This is just my personal taste and thoughts. But the gist of the story is the JLA and the Outsiders have to team up to fight this alien god named Zeta. And we also get a cameo from the Teen Titans, and this is during the time in which Dick Grayson had been fired from being Robin. That's a whole other story, but he's trying to figure out what his new superhero identity is going to be. He later decides on becoming Nightwing, which is a name that he takes from Superman because of a classic adventure that Superman and Jimmy Olsen had back in the 60s. He gets Clark's blessing and goes forth as Nightwing, a moniker which he still has to this very day. But here is a closer look at the cover. We also get a cameo from Sergeant Rock and Easy Company, which is a series set during the Second World War. And like I said, don't want to spoil how we see them, but it's a very cool chapter because it's broken up into chapters. But here is a look at the Outsiders in action, and they're teaming up with Green Lantern, Hawkman, and the Elongated Man. But yeah, very, very cool. We get some high-flying action. Superman is depowered through the majority of this issue because the planet they have to go to has a red sun, which, since Krypton had a red sun, he doesn't have powers because this is the Silver/Bronze Age version, Earth 1. Earth 2 Superman, Kryptonians already have the superpowers. So Golden Age Superman would have had superpowers no matter what. It wasn't until the Silver Age, when Otto Binder took over writing Superman, that he's like, Superman draws his power from the sun. And that has been the thing to explain his powers ever since. But Earth 1, he's under a yellow sun, no powers. And yeah, like I said, very cool issue. We get Wonder Woman, who obviously is a member of the JLA. We also get Zatanna, Red Tornado, and Firestorm. The Flash is incapacitated at this point. Well, he's not on the JLA because of his trial, which has incapacitated him from being a superhero. But over in the Flash series, you would see, what's Flash doing with the Justice League mobilized? Suffice it to say, it was me, Barry. But this is a great celebration issue. It shows all of the heroes having a moment to shine. We get some interesting dialogue where Halo, one of the two women of the Outsiders, is interested in Green Lantern. She's like, in her thought bubble, she's like, oh, he's cute. Now, if Hal knew she was saying that, he'd be like, whoa, I'm with Carol, back off. But he doesn't know that, so it's fine. But here we have Halo rescuing Batman, and that's really cool. And then we get an advertisement for Sergeant Rock toys. But yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being horrible and 10 being amazing, I would have to give this issue a 10 out of 10. Like I said, it does a lot of great character work. It is very well written, in my opinion. The artwork by the various artists is all very good, and the colors are great. The lettering, the inking all pops out. So yeah, not much else to say other than I definitely recommend it for fans of Superman and Batman. I bought this for $6.50 Canadian at Toronto Fan Expo 2025. When it was originally printed, it was $1.25 US, but obviously now that it's 43 years in the future, it's going to be a bit more expensive, unless of course you're like me and found it at a reasonably priced deal at a convention. But generally, for big anniversary issues, it's like, $50 or more. But the guy who was selling this was like, I gotta get all of my comics out of the storage locker or my wife will leave me. And I'm like, hey man, I'm not married, but I get it. I've seen television and movies. Take my wife, please. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please click the like button. If you're new to my show, then please subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when I post new videos, and share this with your friends if they're interested in this sort of content. And in the description, I'll leave links to my social media profile, so if you'd like to send me a message or just stay up to date on my channel, then you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, or Discord. And I'll also leave a link to my podcast, so if you'd like to hear me discuss comic books and the movie adaptations, but don't have time to watch a full video, then please subscribe there, share that with your friends. Also follow me on Patreon and Spring to support this show financially. Thank you, goodbye.